Hey, beautiful, beautiful women. Namaste. Shakti here. So, I'm trying the second time to make this live today. Your body shame isn't yours. Because the first time I made it, apparently the sound quality was really bad because I was out in the park. And so here we are again. I won't be able to say what I said before because it's always just what's streaming through me. But let's see what comes through this time, because this is an important message and it's something that I've been feeling I want to do a live about for a week or so now, or maybe a bit longer. So let's see. At the moment in my 9-month Awakening Shakti course, we're on the theme of your sacred body as woman, or the sacred body of woman. And this is such an important theme for all women because, of course, there is such a strong, powerful, deep conditioning and programming to shame the feminine in the world and through the ages, and to shame all that she represents. And of course, the body is the feminine. So everything to do with the body, everything to do with emotion, everything to do with your senses, everything to do with your sensuality. And the truth, the knowing, the lived sense experiencing that your body is sacred is still very, very rare and very, very uncommon in the world amongst the feminine and amongst women. But when we're not living with that knowing, like truly, authentically, not as some put on face or some put on dress or some put on makeup or whatever, you know, not as some veneer of what we think it should be. If we're not living with that, then we are cut off. We are cut off from our power. Power comes from the body, through the body. We're cut off from our emotions. These are all the gifts of the feminine, because emotion is sensation, is energy. It is in the body. We're unable then to heal and to move, unable to heal ourselves and move energy and integrate. We're unable to experience the pleasure that we're capable of. And we're also unable to access the wisdom that is here in our feminine body, which is particular, which is different, which is not a man's body, but there is wisdom in your womb, there is wisdom in your yoni, there is wisdom in your heart, there is wisdom in your breasts. This is particular to your feminine body, and your feminine body is sacred. It is a gateway to mystical superpowers. It is the gateway to transcendent sexual experience. It is the vessel through which spirit lives here on earth. So every part of your body is sacred and divine and innocent. And the shame that is felt by pretty much every woman out there in the world is a conditioning. It's a programming. It cuts you off from being who you truly are. What a powerful conditioning, because it's so deep. It's within our cells. It's within our bodies. We don't even realize that it is a conditioning until we do, because it's so second nature. It's so pervasive, this shaming of the body and the shame of the feminine body, the shame that women feel around their bodies, this belief that you have to look a certain way to be of worth. It is all a programming. It is all a conditioning. So this shame that you feel is not yours. It's a veil. It's a lie. It's a conditioning. It's a programming. It isn't true. This shame isn't yours. If you want to really, not that you need to, but if you want to analyze it, it's rooted in the masculine fear of feminine power. It's rooted in the dualistic way of thinking that separates and divides. the dualistic way of thinking that has for centuries separated body and mind, sex and spirit, feminine and masculine, have been separated and divided, human from God, right? This way of thinking splits, separates and divides, and the thinking that created the notion of sin and placed that sin through the whole story of Adam and Eve, if you go back to that original story, puts the sin in the body of the woman. So she is the temptress, she is the one who falls from grace through temptation, and she was naked in the Garden of Eden, and then as she takes the bite from that apple, which the snake, Kundalini, right, tempts her to take, she becomes self-conscious, shameful, and wants to cover her body up. So this is a programming. It isn't, the shame is not yours, but it's so deeply embedded in culture and society that you don't realize that. So I'm here to wake you up to the fact that it isn't your essence. Your essence is pure, your essence is untainted, your essence is all powerful. And when you're in touch with that essence, which comes through the body, right? So this is the paradox. You can't be in touch with your essence as a woman unless you are deeply in the body, feeling, sensing, and in touch with your sexual energy. That is your essence, that is your power, that is your life force, that is the root to your source, to your wisdom, to your intuition, to your superpowers. And all the things that your beautiful feminine body does, they are all spiritual gifts. Lactating, nurturing new life in the womb, birthing new life, making love, orgasm, ejaculation, energy orgasm, loving, radiating, all of these are feminine gifts, spiritual gifts that come only through being here in this body. Another way I want to highlight this for you is by speaking about the cultural and social differences that make this really clear to see. So I was really blessed in that I grew up in Germany in the 1960s. And in the German culture of that time, the 60s and the 70s, nudity was just the norm. And those cultures, Nordic cultures, Germanic cultures, there is much more relaxation around the physical body, around nudity. It's not a big deal. So I grew up going to a tennis club every weekend with my parents and being in the changing room where all the women would just strip off and stand there talking naked. It wasn't a sexual scene, it was just a normal scene. Bodies of all shapes and sizes standing there nakedly talking, no shame, no self-consciousness. They're a very common part of the culture also, saunas and bathing houses that are mixed, where everyone's just naked and bathing. It's not a sexual scene, it's just swimming and being in the sauna. It's a body, right? No big deal. I was so shocked and disappointed when I returned to the UK as a teenager and went to secondary school, and there I was stripping off in the changing room and everyone was giggling and looking up and down and smirking and hiding their prepubescent bodies beneath towels. Like, what nonsense. What is there to be ashamed of in this beautiful, beautiful divine vessel, right? It's conditioning. It's not a truth. See this. And then, of course, after that, in later in my life, in Tantra workshops as well, where there can be nudity, which is not necessarily sexual. I have to keep stressing this because there's such an association for so many people who are conditioned, particularly in the English culture. Sexuality is very repressed and there's so much shame. And also in some of the subcultures, you know, a lot of the women in my groups come from South Asian backgrounds and cultures, which again are very sexually and religious, very sexually repressed. And there's a lot of religious dogma around the body and sexuality. What does that do? It puts sexuality into the shadows, it creates shame, it creates distortion, it creates all kind of fucked upness. But anyway, to come back to the Tantra workshops where there's often nudity, not necessarily sexual at all, it's just there to return you to the notion of your innocence and your beauty as you are, the self-acceptance of your beauty and your naturalness as you are. And again, getting to see bodies of all shapes and sizes, seeing that every single body is beautiful. That is truly my belief. Every single body is beautiful, and particularly women's bodies. They're gorgeous, they're divine. I love women's naked bodies. They're just so divine. Every shape, every size, every color, every age. That's what I see with my eyes. I don't understand the notion of competition. I don't understand the notion of comparison. That's just not what my eyes are seeing. My eyes are seeing beauty. And so yes, I've been blessed to have those experiences that kind of have really deepened my own self-acceptance within my own body, which is not to say, like I've mentioned in my previous live, that I didn't have my own issues as a teenager, plopped down into this very repressed culture where the body and sexuality was stigmatized, and there was so much emphasis on a woman's value being placed upon how she looks physically. Of course, once you truly embody this connection to yourself, to your essence, to the lived understanding of your body as sacred, you don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks of you. You don't dress to please anyone else. You don't do anything to yourself for anyone else. You understand that you're living here in this beautiful divine vessel that you want to take care of, for sure. You want to adorn, for sure. You want to feel beautiful, for sure. But that feeling of beauty and power and radiance, it comes from within. It doesn't come from what you're putting on the outside. Your body is sacred, and if you're feeling shame about your body, around any part of your body, that shame isn't yours. It comes from the masculine, the immature, unevolved, unconscious masculine that is afraid of your power. So it's time to take your power back. It's time to drop that shame. It's time to embrace life, love, sensuality and pleasure fully. While the shame is in your cells, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. So if this video speaks to you, you know there's a few ways that I can support you. You can approach me to work one-to-one. You can join my Awakening Shakti program, which is a 9-month deep dive program. Next one starts next year, mind you. Or this coming Sunday, the 20th of June 2021, I'm starting the next live round of my 6-week Rapture program, which is all about embodying your divine, feminine, sacred, sexual essence. It's not all about sex, because this essence is your awakening force. It is the force for your spiritual evolution. It is not just about sex. It helps you to understand that sex and spirit are one, but your beautiful body is the vessel for this journey. So be in touch if you're called, and have a beautiful, beautiful evening, day, afternoon, wherever you are. Lots of love, and see you next time.